Greetings, friends. It's me, Wayman, and come on to do a video on Ahmadinejad's speech, where seemingly he attempts to seduce justice. And while listening to the lofty speech of Mahmoud Ahmadinejad from the floor of the United Nations discussing inequality, liberty, and justice, I wonder if he knew what those terms were, or like many a rhetorician, just reading the words off the page. While many of those to whom his speech was directed at quickly applauded the condemnation of the West and conspiracy theories, some of the hostility can be understood. For a country feeling boxed in feels it has no other choice but to resort to such tactics in order to survive. Painting his country as the victim almost drew sympathy and tugged at the emotions until I remembered the past elections that installed Ahmadinejad president once more, and the deaths of the many protesters at the hands of the government. Like any tyrant, he will be allowed to remain as president until he has served his purpose for the clerics and the army who installed him. Upon hearing such a lofty speech, I happen to think of the dialogue of Plato, Menexenus, as translated here by Benjamin Hewitt. And if, as often happens, there are any foreigners who accompany me to the speech, I become suddenly conscious of having a sort of triumph over them, and they seem to experience a corresponding feeling of admiration at me, and at the greatness of the city, which appears to them, when they are under the influence of the speaker, more wonderful than ever. This consciousness of dignity lasts me more than 3 days, and not until the 4th or 5th day do I come to my senses and know where I am. In the meantime, I have been living in the islands of the blessed. Such is the art of our rhetoricians, and in such a manner does the sound of their words keep ringing in my ears." End quote. So when I came back from the islands of the blessed myself, I also recalled Socrates' long discourse in Plato's Republic concerning the tyrant, and this led me to think about the topic of justice. One may not completely know what justice is, but we know what it's not. Nurturing her is a daily task, and if one were to have the least amount of apathy or complacency, she'll be sure to leave and become but a phantom. One will believe she is there, try to hold her hand and court her, but in the hours of need she'll be as mist. One should protect Lady Justice at all costs. When she is down, they should fight fiercely for her, like the Greeks fought for the beloved body of Patroclus on the battlefield of Troy. For if she is left on the field, she will be stripped of her armor, be lost to the enemy, and be defiled. The Arab Spring is mounting in Ahmadinejad's house, but the ransom for the body of justice from the tyrant state will be costly. Tyrants, like Ahmadinejad, will try to court justice and make promises to win her over, but this is only false promises and false hopes, and the reply from justice should be the long list of lovers that the tyrant had in the past. Quite naturally, the tyrant will be angry when rebuffed by justice, and will let his fury rage. But, like the suffering servant that she is, justice will stand and receive the blows. So each individual should cling to the robe of justice and court her for themselves before presenting her to the world. For if she is unknown to the individual, how can the individual present her to the state? Below is a quote from Gorgias by Plato, translated by Benjamin Hewitt, and it's one of my favorite dialogues. Quote, "Follow me, then, and I will lead you to where you will be happy in life after death." As the argument shows, and never mind if someone despises you as a fool and insults you. If he has a mind, let him strike you by Zeus, and do you be of good cheer, and do not mind the insulting blow, for you will never come to any harm in the practice of virtue, if you are really good men. When we have practiced virtue together, we will apply ourselves to politics, if that seems desirable, or we'll advise about whatever else might seem good to us, for we shall be better able to judge then. In our present condition, we ought not to give ourselves airs, for even on the most important subjects, we're always changing our minds. So utterly stupid are we. Let us, then, take the argument as our guide, which has been revealed to us, that the best way of life is to practice justice, and in every virtue, in life and death. This way let us go, and in this exhort all men to follow, not the way to which you trust, and in which you exhort me to follow. For that way, Calcius, is nothing of worth. Gorgias by Plato, translated by Benjamin Hewitt. So take care, friends, and remember, if everybody's thinking alike, then somebody isn't thinking.